Welcome to another episode of Non-Toxic Conversations. I'm Sam, your host.
And I'm Nikki, your co-host, and we are integrative health practitioners at Balance Friends. And today we're going to be talking about endocrine disruptors, which is a very important topic. So I'm super excited to get into these conversations.
Yes, another fun conversation with Nikki. We hope to bring you value, but today we're going to keep it nice and tidy with 5 endocrine disruptors that you need to be avoiding for just better overall health and better hormone and balance. Because when you hear the term endocrine disruptors, we're talking about your endocrine system, which has a lot to do with your hormones. And your hormones, they just rule the world. Your hormones have to be balanced so that you can have vitality, so you can feel good and just really show up in the world in the way that you want to do. So, Nikki, let's take it away with the first endocrine disruptor that we need to look out for.
Yes. So I did just really quickly want to say just endocrine disruptors, just a very simple definition of what they are. They're going to be chemicals that interfere with your hormone balance, either by mimicking estrogen, blocking hormone receptors, or disrupting detox pathways. So that's just, simple. Just because they're chemicals, that doesn't always mean they're man-made. We're going to be talking about man-made ones today. But some are naturally occurring, like phytoestrogen, for example, which we have another episode about. So I just want to put that out there. But the 5 common culprits that we're going to be talking about today, the first one is going to be BPAs, which I'm sure many people have heard that one before, but they're going to be mainly in plastics. So your plastic water bottles, they can also be hiding in receipt paper. So that is a tough one. For people that, do a lot of the shopping or maybe even work at a, either a restaurant where you're touching receipts all the time, just kind of be cautious of that and be cognizant that they do transfer by touching. So just knowing, okay, maybe I'm not going to just be willy-nilly holding onto this receipt all the time, which sounds silly, but it does add up if you're doing that every day. Canned foods and really just, plastics, food packaging is going to be the big one for BPAs.
There's also, people would be surprised to know that there's a plastic even in clothing, which is just a really nuts thing to think about, honestly. Plastics, it's just become a really big topic in the health industry lately. I think there's a lot of companies that are trying to do better, but it's also up to us, being the consumer. We have to know this information so that we can adapt accordingly and start to choose better products in general. Mm-hmm. So what's the next one that we want to talk about? What's number 2?
So number 2 is going to be phthalates. And this one is found in fragrances, especially, but beauty products, also plastics, really cosmetics. And that's a big one because, you're putting on these fragrances every single day, or you have your candles lit, your nice, Bath and Body Works sweet smelling stuff and all this stuff. It's like, well, how do you think that it smells like cotton candy delight or whatever it is? Like, that's not going to be.
I grew up in the era of Love Spell. That might be too old for you, but basically my whole generation, we were like, oh yes, give me the Love Spell. And now I don't even remember if that was like a Victoria's Secret thing or if it was Bath and Body.
I was like, it was like Victoria's Secret or something. Because I used to go to the mall. I'm getting the samples. I'm getting it's just, I know like the younger generation, I'll get in the car with my sister and she just, I'm like, I have to cover my mouth. I'm like, come on, stop. Don't put that stuff on around me. But
I know. I actually had this happen to me. I feel like once you adapt a more toxic-free lifestyle or, even low toxic, you get really used to not being exposed to these things. And so then when you do come in contact with them, you have like this heightened reaction, which I actually feel like is a proper response to chemicals. But I had that happen when I was traveling to Mexico recently, and I was walking through the airport, and you get off, is it like the duty-free area? I was literally gagging. I had to run out of there. My husband thought I was being dramatic, but I was like, no, it's hurting my eyes. It's hurting I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Like I'm getting a runny nose. Like I have an instant headache. Like it is crazy.
For me, it's the headache and nausea, really. I have same situation. At my church, I have a Wednesday night church group that I go to, and in the church, I just realized, because I was like, where is the smell coming from? They have a air freshener. I don't even know what it is, but it's attached to the wall, and every 1 minute or so it sprays. And it took me like the first 3 times I was there, I was like, where is this stuff coming from? And now I realize that I am just locked in that position. So I'm like, I don't know how to avoid this. But again, that's going to happen because that's life. Like, you can't, if you're outside of your home, it's really hard to avoid certain things. So it's really good to know how to detox and what we can do to kind of offset, the effects.
Yes, absolutely, which we will touch on at the end of this episode. So stay tuned. If you know for a fact that you've been covering your body in Love Spell and going around Bath and Body candles and walking through the airports, all these things that we're talking about today, if you know for a fact that you've been exposed to these things, knowing that, hey, we're integrative health practitioners and we get exposed to these things too. We get it. You're not perfect. You don't have to be perfect. But what's important is that you have the tools to combat these toxins, which we will get into at the very end. So first, let's go ahead and talk about number 3 endocrine disruptor that we need to be looking out for.
Yes. So number 3 is going to be BFRs. And this is actually going to be, the name for this is brominated flame retardants. And these are going to be hiding in your furniture, your mattresses, electronics. I mean, furniture is a really big one because you just don't you don't know until you know. You really don't. Why would you be thinking about the forever chemicals and the endocrine disruptors that are in your furniture? You're just not thinking about that. So it's just really important to be equipped with the knowledge to know, okay, now I have to put this on my list to look for, a healthy furniture alternative. So that's a big one though, furniture and mattresses, because you're sitting on your couch or laying on your bed every single day. So.
Well, and they're off-gassing in your home, filling your home with these toxins. So when you do buy a new furniture, if you're not able to get a cleaner option, you need to make sure you're letting it off gas, but open up your windows, like really or let it sit in your garage for a little bit and let the fresh air take some of these toxins out of the air as you're kind of settling in. But the flame retardants, they can even be on children's clothing, like on their little PJs and stuff like that. And so it's really up to us to protect ourselves and, to vote with our dollar and support companies who are creating healthier products for us and for our families, because flame retardants, they are everywhere. And I understand, I try to understand where they're coming from. I mean, fire is dangerous and I understand, but you mentioned forever chemicals, and that's a big deal. They're with us forever. So it is a big deal. Okay, what number are we on? 4?
Yes. So PFAs, again, these are going to be like the forever chemicals, and these are found in nonstick cookware, fast food packaging, water-resistant clothing. But I really do think that nonstick cookware is like the biggest source of where people are getting this from, just because that was such a popular thing. I think now, like you said, brands are starting to do a little bit better. People are starting to become more aware of this. But again, it's like, yeah, of course I want nonstick cookware. It's going to be the easiest thing to cook with. Like, and I, like you said, I agree. Like, I like to have a positive outlook on life and just on people. So I think that trying to understand, like, okay, I can understand that people were, trying to find a good solution for consumers, but at the same time, unfortunately, money wins 90% of the time. And so they're going to be able to make more money off of this. And so I don't think that people are inherently out to get you, but it's just, we live in a money world. So
it's tough. That's why I think we have a big job to do by growing our platforms so that we can get this information out there to the people that really need it most. Because like you said, you don't know how to fix them until you know. And we want to make that journey as easy as possible for everyone. And I think with the nonstick pans specifically, I think it's a swap worth making almost right away if you can, because you use it almost every single day. Every day you can be getting exposed if you're cooking consistently. So it is a big swap. And one of the first swaps I actually think that I made in my personal life for this reason. I swapped my pans out about 10 years ago. I got stainless steel option. Those puppies have held up. I still have those same pans today and they look great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I got new pans all the time. Like, it was so worth it.
What you do have to do, I feel like, with nonstick cookware, and that's another thing, is every little scratch that you're getting in that pan, it's leaching into your food. And it's, once it's like, oh, it's hard to look at it.
Gagging. Like, I'm gagging about eating that stuff chipping off. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the last one?
The last one is going to be parabens. So this is, again, similar to phthalates in that they're found in a lot of beauty products, a lot of shampoos, lotions, and other cosmetics. And yeah, this is very important because you're putting it on your body every single day. So just something to be very cognizant of.
And I think with something like your cosmetics, the reason that is important because you are putting it on your skin, and your skin is a way that you absorb things. And one way you can think of that, because people are like, well, is that really true? Well, just think about even products like a nicotine patch. It goes on your skin. What about biofreeze? It goes on your skin. Things do get absorbed through the skin. So we need to be aware of what's in these products and what is actually getting into our body. And then on top of that, it's our liver's job to keep up with getting this junk out of our system, which really is going to bring us to our next point, which is, okay, now you know about these endocrine disruptors. You know where they're hiding. We want to avoid them, but then we also want to get them out of our body because these toxins just stick with us. These toxins, they are everywhere, as you can see. And our liver has to be removing them from our body. And our liver was just never made to keep up with this amount of toxic burden. It just wasn't. So we need to support our liver by going through a 7-day liver detox boot camp. Give your body that quick overall purge and get these toxins out of your system, start fresh. And then throughout that journey, we also help coach you, even in that boot camp, on how you can make better, more toxic-free choices, which brings us to some very exciting news that Nikki can share with you next.
Yes. We are officially on Amazon storefront and Like to Know. So if you guys don't know what either of those are, I'll just explain a little bit. So our Amazon storefront is going to be, there's a link in our bio, and basically it's just a landing page of great products, non-toxic swaps, and just basically a safe place to do your shopping, you know, healthier items. And then the same thing with our Like to Know. That's going to be an app where it essentially is like an Instagram, except all the products that are in the videos that we show, you can just go ahead and click on them and it'll take you to where you can go ahead and buy that exact product. So both just really cool options to be able to start making those switches. I know it can be pretty overwhelming if you're just hearing about this. And again, we like to say, don't try and do everything all at once. If you can, that's great. But most people are not in a situation where they can just completely purge their entire kitchen and buy new utensils, new pans, new glass containers. You know, it is a big expense. So you run out of something, you switch it for something better. You know, you run out of your spray, your all-purpose spray, you switch it for a non-toxic one. Or I mean, again, with the pans, like that's something that's a great place to start. You start there, and then maybe next month you switch your utensils. But when you're ready to do that, that is going to be your place where you can look and just see all the options that we have, a bunch of great options. So
it's really our goal just to have everything in one nice, tidy place, somewhere where you can go, that you can trust that the products we're linking up there for you is something that we either would get ourselves or we do have ourselves, and we have to bring it to you so that you can trust it and so that you can make more decisions in your life to avoid more toxins. And then also by doing this, we do want to support these companies who are creating their products with our health in mind. It's very important to us that we are highlighting them because thank you for not exposing us and our families to chemicals. So we will not be your average person that you would see on either of these platforms because they will be fully non-toxic options that we truly love and would feel comfortable recommending. So I would just want to say, even for Like to Know, there's a lot of fast fashion on there, which we could do an episode about that. But there's these influencers and they're out there promoting these toxin-filled clothing or home decor items that are just filling your homes with unnecessary endocrine disruptors like what we talked to today. That is not our goal with these platforms. We want to bring you, we want to build these up, so please share them, but we want to build them up for you to have your safe place. The other thing that we want to recommend with this episode would be if you have been exposed to these endocrine disruptors, not only is a 7-day detox going to be the best place for you to start in purging them from your body, but the next layer to that is they disrupt your hormones. Well, let's check in and see what your hormones are doing, honestly, because we can really make tweaks, big and small, with your hormones that can really get you feeling better faster. So lots of things that you can do with this information. We will link everything up in the show notes for you today. As always, please reach out with any questions you may have. Please subscribe to this episode so you never miss any of this great information. And please share it with somebody who you feel could really value from it as well. We will see you next time for the next episode.